welcome to another free code session. My name is Jason Bach, and I think I have the analyzer thing done. So if you can see here, I have a struct that is being passed into rock create. Now, this is also a little disingenuous, if that's the right word, because you can't pass in a struct. This will only take a class. But if you hover over this, you see that it says the type is sealed, and that's from rocks. So this is coming from the analyzer. And we can change this a little bit by saying, let's make this an interface. And now we should get a different one, which is saying, yeah, there's nothing that can be overridden. So this is good. Analyzers seem to be in place. So I also fixed the issue with the code generator application where it really wasn't reporting errors when it should have been. But I also figured out how to make sure that a type could have the potential of being mocked. So I changed that code around and made that reasonably efficient, and now found some bugs that I've introduced by all the changes that I've done for 8.0.0. You know what I mean? It's interesting because I'm not going to run it now, but the code generation test app, I'm noticing some assemblies like Angle Sharp, they seem to be taking quite a long time to build, and I don't know why. Other assemblies or packages or whatever, I think like Stripe or some other ones, they have literally hundreds if not thousands, and it's relatively quick to get through them. What I want to do is start, after I finally get 8 done, is to start looking at the build performance. And that's a little bit harder. It's fairly easy to do benchmarking with what Rocks produces, but that's going to require some profiling and looking into what's taking the longest and doing some research that way. So that's on the docket for the future, but I want to get this out. So what I'm going to do is just make absolutely sure that everything is good. And once I do that, I'll come back and start going through some of the bugs that I introduced with all the work that I've been doing. So I'll come back and start working on the first bug. While I was waiting for those tests to finish, I got to say this. I was looking at my phone and found this random piece of trivia, some video that I had no idea the Denver Nuggets won the NBA championship this past year. I had no clue. It shows you how little I follow sports these days. And just was like, oh, they won. Oh, did not know that. So anyway, I'm going to get set up to work on the first bug. Okay, the first bug I'm going to fix is this one with the member not null when attribute and creating a make. So what happens in this case is this is saying that this member will not be null when this returns false. But the way that a make works when it generates the code is it just returns default from everything. So in the case of a bool, that's false. In case of a string, that's a null. And so that ends up causing a warning, which then treating warnings as errors, is on, is true. And I don't like that. So what I'm going to do is simply, if I look at my notes for here, I think I got this down, is just put a pragma disable restore around just the make. And just put this code there right now. And then if I need more, I can do that as I need to add more of them. But for right now, I'm just like, I'll just put one there and make it simple. Not try to do it. I thought, oh my God, am I gonna have to do something where I don't return null here and do it? It's like, no, just it's a warning, just ignore it. For make, we don't care. As a side note, I'm going to probably change this run generator. Maybe, because I don't ever have anything other than that generator. I don't understand what generates sources, why I am... Oh, it's because that's right. You need to source file collection. You need all those things. Anyway, never mind. But there is one thing here I've noticed is I can use collection expressions around this. What I typically do, or what I have been doing, is just doing a new. And it's essentially doing the same thing. But It's just a little bit less code when you do it with a collection expression. I love collection. I didn't think I would like collection expressions as much as I do in C# 12, but it's one of those features that it just keeps showing up more and more and more to make code less and less verbose. And some people may not like this and go, oh, that's like, I don't know what that's doing. But once you understand what the feature is doing, then it's full embracement. If embracement is a word. Okay, so let's get into this and fixing this. Hopefully this one should be pretty quick. So we go up into our builders and our make, and basically we just have to surround everything with that. So what is that again? Is it a pragma warning, disable, and then whatever the code is, right? And so that's what we want in our code. And you can put those, I think, anywhere, right? There's no rule or anything to say it can't has to be before or after a namespace, blah, blah, blah. It's wherever you want it. We'll put it right there. Okay. Whoops. We want that there though. We want auto-generated first. Okay. So we do that, and then we do that, and then we will always end with an indent. Right line where we put in the restore. Just because I don't even think in a file you need to restore it, but that's just the way I am. So now if we come into attribute generators test, we should see here a disable, and then here we should see a restore. I think that should be like that. We'll see. Do I want to make that a little bit neater? I kind of like it if it would be more, have a space there. It would just read a little better, I think. But we don't really care, do we? No, we don't care. But I kind of do. I really do. Indent, right line. There we go. Easy. Easy. All right, let's see if this runs. And it passes. Now, that's it I have to do for this bug to be fixed. What I just realized, though, is that when I run the tests, there are certain ones that are going to break just simply because I've added these now for all makes. So I'm going to get some more coffee. I'm going to pause. I'm going to fix those tests so that I can close this branch, close this bug, and get on to another one. So once I get all this buttoned up, I will go work on the next bug. Okay, I got that all fixed. As I was cleaning up all the tests, I was thinking, well, maybe I don't put that pragma in unless I see that attribute somewhere within the code. But I'm like, no, it's just simpler to put the pragma in. Even if it's not needed, it's unnecessary, but it's like, it's just simpler to do that. So got that all fixed, merged, and that one is now done. We're going to move on to this one. This one was interesting. This one actually came from, of course, something within Entity Framework. Entity Framework sometimes has some really interesting, and by interesting I mean wild, definitions of types. And it's also, again, this is an important lesson that when you find a bug, you want to be able to reproduce it with the smallest example possible. And that's not always easy. That's sometimes fairly difficult to do, but that's needed, that's essential, because that removes any extraneous noise and gets right to the heart of the matter and says, this is the problem. You know, the actual type that I found this on has all sorts of things on it. And I'm like, no, I just want to focus on something that isn't even dependent upon that type. I want to be able to reproduce it. And I was able to with this example. The problem is that you have interfaces that have indexers that need to be implemented explicitly, but then you also have a property on the type that does not need to be implemented explicitly. And so what happens is you end up with something that looks really strange like this. And I thought, oh my God, when I first saw this is going to take forever to figure out. But it's actually not that bad. And let me show you. So when I'm building the properties, I'm also building the indexers. And what I do is I first say, well, if I have any properties that do not require explicit implementation, then build properties and indexers. Here's the problem. Same thing here. And then I look for ones that do need explicit implementation, and then I do these. And I think these are actually already correct, but these are not. And what do I mean by that? Well, if I go into indexers, you'll see here that I'm not excluding those that need explicit implementation. So what I should be saying here is if any are indexers and do not require explicit implementation, and I'm doing that here, like I have that all within these if checks. And again, this code is just, oof, I've got to at some point do more and more refactoring. It's gotten better with all the changes I've made, but I still look at some of these and go, okay, this could be generalized, this could be moved into its own method. It just could be easier to consume, okay? But that's what I need to do. If you see here, I do that. With explicit, I say what's an indexer and it requires it, okay? So I just have to put that and in there. So let's grab this and let's first do it for properties because we can't forget properties. So we want to say it's not an indexer and it does not require explicit implementation. And then we already do that down here as well. No, no, no. Okay. And I'm just double checking, measure twice, cut once, and all that. Indexers, and we have to do that here. We have that 1, 2, 3. Good. Okay. And as I've said, I think I'm already doing that here with the explicit properties and the explicit indexers. Yep. Okay. So I could put in a test, and arguably I should put in a test that also says, hey, if you have explicit properties that need to be made, but not explicit, but yeah, and do the other reverse. But it's a Saturday morning, I'm a little lazy. So I think I'm just going to do this. So what I should be able to do now is this should just go away. We shouldn't even have this now, I believe. Maybe there's something else down here that I think, I don't know. We'll see. I think maybe one other thing might go away, but let's run this. I was right. So we don't create indexers anymore, and therefore we don't need to new up an indexer's property anymore. So yeah, let me fix that. Let's go into here. Nope, not there. Here. Scroll all the way down to the bottom, and we're going to take out indexers. We're going to take out indexers, and we're going to take out a new here. Now, hopefully this should build. Okay, it built, so that's good. I don't think this shouldn't have broken anything else because the bug itself generates incorrect code. So I would have seen that in a test before, a test that I would have written, either an integration or just a regular test. They show up with a code generation test. That's why I saw it. So what I'll do, run all the tests and then merge, and then I'll come to the next bug to fix. Okay, I got that all fixed, committed, merged, all that good stuff, and I was going to start working on another bug, but I looked at the time and I said, I got to run some errands today. I got to do some stuff this morning, and I got to get moving to be on schedule. So I'm going to stop the episode here. In the next one, or 2 or 3 or whatever, I'm hoping to get these 2 done. That should be it for 8.0.0. Again, there are other things I need to work on. The generation times I want to put on the roadmap. The rare name collisions, that'll be addressed in the future. Open generics, I have that as 8. That's not going to happen in 8. I got to move that to like 8.1 or something like that. But and then the disposable stuff and some other things. So yeah, there's definitely some work to be done, and I will hopefully get to all that in the near future. But the next episode, I will be working on these 2 bugs. So that's what I'm going to do in the next episode. Thank you all for watching. Leave comments and questions below. See you in the next episode.